So Arjun and I have been working together now for just over 2 years. We actually started training during the pandemic, and a lot of our training sessions were actually done via video call, which of course provides limitations. So we were both really happy when we could actually meet and do our face-to-face training sessions, as I normally train with clients. So it was good to actually get through that with Arjun, which was a challenge in itself initially. Then when you look at Arjun's transformation, I think, as with himself and with other people, there's two types of transformation, and they go hand in hand. The first transformation is, of course, the physical, which is what everybody can see. And then perhaps the most important transformation is the transformation of the mind and the associations to food, to training, to habits that all get created over a period of time, which Arjun definitely had, as with everybody else. And once we've made that transformation, he's learned the types of food that his body can digest and the types of food would actually serve him when he comes to do the training. Then the physical transformation actually can come around a little bit quicker. But the mental transformation is what actually takes the time. And that's what I've been working with Arjun on more than anything, I guess, because he's always enjoyed the training and he's always sort of understood what he needs to do. But it's a case of forming good, decent habits, which is hopefully what I've installed in him. Arjun's daily routine constantly changes, much like any of us. So depending on what he had on for that particular day with work or other commitments, I'd have to fit in the exercise session around that. So Arjun sometimes would train in the morning, sometimes in the evening, afternoon. Even sometimes while he was actually working on set, he would actually train in the middle of the day. When he wasn't working on set, then we'd have more freedom. So then we could actually train up to 3 times a day. But the important thing that I wanted to try and install in Arjun, and think I successfully have, is that he needs to tick a box. He needs to basically make sure that an exercise session gets done each day. Much like the importance of brushing his teeth, combing his hair, taking a shower, eating his meal, exercise should be one of the very normal routine things that he does each and every day, no matter what he has on. I really don't like and never use the term cheat day. I understand the principle of what you're asking, but the term cheat day is a very negative connotation and actually can cause problems with people's association to food. I would much more rather use the term reward day, or what it actually is, a high calorie day, as opposed to being in a calorie deficit, which of course often people are, and Arjun has been for a period of time. The higher calorie meal or the higher calorie day does 2 things. One, it takes the routine that the person has got used to out of the equation and actually gives them a break from that routine and that habit, which is sometimes welcome. But more importantly, it fuels the body in order to push the body further in the next exercise training session, and it helps to get out of plateaus and things like that. So I've never actually scheduled a cheat day with Arjun. I don't think it should work like that. What I do is I look at how he's feeling and I look at how his workload is for that day. And if it's required, then of course I'll give him a slightly higher calorie meal or a slightly higher calorie day. That will obviously give him the energy to get through that day, and sometimes just take a little bit of a break from the routine, which can be mentally stimulating and of course motivating. When it comes to his nutrition plan, because he wanted to lose weight, it was super important that he was in a calorie deficit. In fact, that's the only thing that really mattered to ensure that he lost weight and he achieved his goal. Now, to make that happen, there are a multitude of ways of doing it, but I needed to make sure that my diet plan for Arjun was sustainable. And it wasn't just a quick fix where he'd do it for a few weeks, lose a load of weight, and then go back to his normal eating habits a few weeks later and put it all back on. I wanted to make sure that it was sustainable. So Arjun and I spoke in great detail about the foods that he enjoyed and he wanted included in his plan. And also how his days are set up. So, what meals he can actually find time for, because he's incredibly busy. So we figured out that he would be able to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner with a snack anywhere in between. And of course, because he told me what types of food he liked, I was able to put that into his plan. But the most important thing was that although he got all these foods that he liked, they were portion controlled, and I ensured that if he ate these foods, he would still be in a calorie deficit and therefore he would lose weight. When Arjun initially contacted me, I think it had been some time since he had been working out, but I also think he had reached a point where he realized what needed to be done, and he needed to take that first step, and that first step was in contacting me happily. So actually, when I started with Arjun, he was already very, very motivated. And as I've said before, Arjun actually really enjoys the gym. He just needs a little bit of guidance on what to do in each session. And yeah, he can take it from there. He doesn't need someone to push him with a stick. He just needs someone to guide him and give him the correct information, which will be optimal for the time that he puts into the exercises. In the time that Arjun and I have been working together, he has managed to lose 16 kilograms, which of course is absolutely amazing. But I think what I'm more happy about is Arjun's relationship now to health and fitness. I really believe that Arjun will continue to lose weight in the future. As Arjun says, he is a work in progress and this is a non-stop journey. And I think because he now realizes that, he will continue to adopt this lifestyle that he now has, and health and fitness and training and nutrition will just be a part of his normal day. And that will serve him really well. Not only will it help him to lose weight, but it will just make him more buoyant, more energetic, and just a general, more healthy human being. Fortunately, when it comes to working out, Arjun is extremely motivated, and once he's in the gym, he always gave me 100%. So I didn't really have to motivate him as such or give him any strict instructions. Perhaps the only instructions I needed to ensure was that he showed up, and obviously each day he came to the gym, which is often the most difficult part. But once I got in there, he always gave me 100%. And in fact, sometimes I had to slow him down because Arjun was training so consistently and so regularly, and he still does, that he needs his rest. So sometimes he'd come into a session and he'd be pushing a little bit too hard, so I'd have to slow him down. And also I'd have to force rests on him. So, if he'd been training 6 days non-stop and he'd had 6 really, really tough days at work, that 7th day he would have to take a workout. Whether Arjun wanted to or not, I had to force those breaks on him to ensure that he had good recovery, to make sure that he was 100% ready for the next session. I'm a real firm believer that no food should be off limits. So if there is a type of food that Arjun wants to eat, then I would never say no. I would just make sure that it's accounted for in his plan. So yeah, I don't think there is anything that Arjun particularly misses, because most of the foods that he enjoys are in the plan already. But I guess you would have to speak to Arjun and maybe he would say something different.